Women working in male-dominated industries have very limited opportunities to rise within their ranks, owing to factors such as gender discrimination, sexual harassment, and a lack of provision for their physical and structural needs by employers. South Africa's Tambani Research Institute conducted a research study on the challenges facing women in the mining, construction, and energy sectors. It shows that women continue to experience abuse and discrimination in the workplace. Earlier, we spoke to Pulane Nkalai, a senior research specialist at the Tambani Research Institute.
Yes, you're very right. These three sectors are male-dominated sectors. But what has happened in the past years is that the government has tried to include and invite more women into the sectors. The government intentionally set a 10% target to say women must be included in mining.
Yeah.
But in our research, we found that as much as visibility of women in this sectors is there is still a lot of marginalization in terms of there are specific needs of being a woman being taken into consideration, particularly because these are male-dominated sectors. So, for an instance, the problems are cultural and structural.
Yeah.
So you have power relations issues going there. So
you talk about cultural specific. It's the first time I've heard somebody mention the C word with regards to discrimination in the workplace.
Yes.
Just talk to me about these kind of cultural dynamics that are playing out.
So the work in the mining requires heavy lifting,
Yes.
And culturally men are seen to be the ones that are able to carry out work of that nature. So you find that even better paying jobs are given to men as opposed to women.
Yeah.
And that puts women in abusive environments.
Yeah.
In a way, because of how we see certain work and we segregate positions, divides workers and particularly puts women in those low-paying jobs. So that is one of the challenges that we found, that a lot of women that are in the sectors have jobs that are very abusive, and that are not allowing them to grow into or progress into better one. But
you touched on sexual harassment and other forms of gender discrimination. Is that still rife in these sectors?
Yes. So sexual harassment, it's still there in a sense that it can take different forms. Women are either sexually harassed, and there are those women who perform sexual favors to get better positions, to get men to do this heavy work that I talked about earlier, yet they hold those positions themselves.
Yeah.
So we found out sometimes women would report when they go underground, and then the carrier gets there, they find that there's been, because it's very dark, and there are lots of men and few women, you find when they get there, there's been semen around you and you don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
You find that your clothes have been pulled down. So, and when they report these things, there is no form of action that takes place. So a lot of them do not report these incidences.
So underground, these kinds of things are perpetrated against women.
Yes. And another thing is that they complain about the uniform. It's designed for women, so they have the overalls that are sort of a jumpsuit. So when you're underground and you have to go and relieve yourself, literally a woman has to take everything off. And those exposes them
to danger,
to this,
if you can call that. Wow, these problems certainly, certainly are very concerning and quite big issues that women are facing. Talk to us about the mining charter and how it is either catering or not catering for women, and how this can be improved.
Yeah, look, like I said, the mining charter set a target because initially women were never allowed to even work in the mining. So the mining charter set the target the 10% to have women represented in mining. And also particularly in positions, higher level positions. But the problem is, even though the legislative or policies are there, there is no enforcement, there's no action plans with specific tasks to say how we're going to follow up on that. So that is where the problem is. But the mining charter on its own has been very successful in terms of getting women in the workplace. But now we have to talk about integration, so that women are not just there in numbers, but the specific needs of being. Women don't want to be men. Women are not men. Women have different strengths that men have.
Absolutely.
So we need to take into consideration the specific needs and qualities that women have and that they can bring in these sectors.